For me, the definition of entrepreneurs is a really broad one. I think someone who is an entrepreneur is a person who is innovative and creative and comes up with a different way to do something. I mean, most traditional respects, an entrepreneur is someone who's starts a new business, but now I think it's become someone who's been really innovative in an organization. Period. So you could be an entrepreneur in a really large company, where maybe you help introduce a new product or a new process or a new division or a new market. Or I think a lot of those have a lot of entrepreneurial kind of qualities. My entrepreneurial background, I have undergraduate degrees in marketing communication and graduate degrees in entrepreneurship and small business management. My first jobs out of undergraduate was run a small fashion accessory company with 7 employees and about $2 million in sales. So I was responsible for sales, marketing, doing purchasing. I was doing accounts payable, accounts receivable, and eventually hired a team to work under me to help manage that. So buying and managing inventory and all those kinds of things. Went back, got my master's, and then went there to work for some companies that were manufacturing companies, but ended up either running, sort of their groups, their divisions, which was very entrepreneurial because although I worked for them and had a really good paycheck from them, for instance, I worked for a company called AliMed who had medical products, and I ran the ergonomics division. So it was my responsibility to pick the products, to order, make recommended quantities to order. I would put the products and write the copy for the catalogs. We're a mail order catalog company at the time. I would decide how to write it, how to market it. I would build up the co-op. I put the co-op plans together, and I would decide who get the publications. I would do pricing. I would do everything you would do as a business owner. So and that was pretty interesting. When I moved up from Massachusetts to here, I also worked in companies that were small to mid-size, and then I always end up introducing either new product lines or new marketing opportunities for new markets, like taking headsets and putting in truck driver marketplaces, or going to retail or those kinds of things. And then more recently worked at a company that introduced wireless communications products to fast food restaurants. And then joined my husband in a startup insurance agency. So it's been products for all different markets, both manufacturing and distribution, and now actually in service products. For me, that's been terrific because it's been a wide variety of experiences. So I've had to deal with finance issues, I've had to deal with accounting issues, I've had to deal with HR issues, marketing issues. I've had to deal with hiring and firing. I've had to deal with building business plans and trying to raise money. I've also had to deal with day-to-day operations and managing customer service or sales teams or those kinds of things. So it gave me a really wide variety of experiences, which has been fabulous. I don't know that I can think of off the top of my head specific failures that really impacted me, those big moments where you're like, oh my gosh. But do I think that we had things that didn't work so well? Absolutely. Were there kinds of programs we put in place and tested that didn't work? Yeah. Were there markets that were better than others? Yes. Did I learn how to improve my process or improve my ability to qualify things or ask the right questions or do the right research? And balance that between doing research and getting information with making good decisions relatively quickly, because sometimes you can get so stuck in the detail that you don't make decisions. So it's finding that balance of when you feel like you know enough to make a good guess and a good judgment, and then you just do your best from there. So Keslar Insurance is interesting. It's a relatively young insurance company. We're only a couple years old. So the insurance industry is very old. It has been around for a really long time. A lot of people work with insurance agents who are sort of, their grandparents' age. And there you have traditional filing cabinets with, office space, and people come in and pay cash and pay their bills. We don't manage our business that way at all. What we see ourselves as is a sales and marketing company. So what we see that is that our opportunity is to really provide exceptional service and exceptional education for our clients, and that's what makes them come to us. So some of the things we do differently is we are very technology focused. We have really great cutting edge systems. Everything's electronic. It's electronic coding, it's electronic emails, everything's texting or emails or shared through, I even share things through social media sometimes when it's appropriate. And then we even have electronic document signatures. Everything's really easy for our prospects and our clients. And I think that's really important, that we know that it's important in this day and age to make everything really simple, but we also know that people want to have a local relationship. So they may not want to come into our office. We don't do cash payments like some offices do, but they want to know that they can reach us when they need to, and they do. And they'll text us, and they'll call us, and people will come in if they want to and come say hi, but they really don't need to. It's an option. But I think by making sure that we take the time to really build that rapport and build that relationship, makes a huge difference. So in 5 to 10 years, that goes really quick. I see us having a couple more employees. I'd like to see us have a little more flexibility as entrepreneurs. Right now my husband and I own the agency, which means one of us is there, because we're the 2 licensed agents currently. One of us is always there during business hours, pretty much. We do have someone who works for us, but he can't do certain things because he's not licensed. He can't talk about coverages and can't bind policies. So it would be nice to have a couple people covering so we could eventually get to the point where we have a little bit of freedom. And I see the agency being a little bit bigger, but we're really not looking to be huge. We don't want to take over the state. We don't want to be the elite agency. We want to be profitable. We want to be successful, but we still want to make sure that we're providing really good value to our clients. So we have I guess we're going more for quality than volume. And we want good, solid clients who want to have nice relationships with their insurance agents and offer as many products as we can to the same clients. We want their homes and their autos and their businesses and their boats and their snowmobiles, and we want to be their one-stop shop and know that we're going to take really good care of them, as opposed to being the shop that maybe saves them $6 a month for one product and then they're with somebody else for another product, and we don't want to be that player. So the next 5 years, I think it's going to be really, really solidifying that. We're growing right now really quickly. Which means we're swamped and we're busy and it's exciting, but eventually we'd like to have a little bit of a personal life. 10 years, hard to say. I have kids in high school that are going to be going off to college that may have an interest in business. That's an option, whether they get involved or, at some point, do we ever consider selling? And I that's not in the short run plans at all. I think this is a nice business that we can run for a really long time and do a good job at. I have a few pieces of advice for aspiring entrepreneurs. One, integrity. Always keep your integrity. Always do what your gut's telling you is the right thing to do. It will pay off in dividends over time. Listen to your gut. Listen to that intuition. Listen to that feeling that something feels right or doesn't feel right, and act on it pretty quickly, because you usually know something in the back of your head's telling you something that's not a good fit. It's not a good fit, and if somebody's telling you it's gonna work and everyone else is telling you it's not, it might work because you might be the one that makes it happen. So it's some of those intangible things, and also know where you're good and where you're not good. So know where your skills lie. Know where you need someone to come in and supplement and be on your team, and where you're sort of the expert in that area. So if you're an entrepreneur, is to understand, who do you need to supplement, who do you need to work with, who need you to balance you out, so you're a good team going forward to accomplish whatever your goal you've set. Yeah, I definitely wish I did some things differently. I think I stayed in jobs that I didn't love for too long. I think I worked for companies and people just because it was easy or convenient, but I should have been more willing to take more risk and go to more opportunities more quickly. I mean, I worked for some good companies, and within those companies, I definitely feel like I made the best of my experiences there, and it definitely helped me get to where I wanted to go. And I stayed to some of the things that were really true to myself. I always wanted to work close to home. I wanted to be part of my community. I wanted to be local. I'm not big on for me, it wasn't all about travel and glamorous jobs and that kind of thing. I wanted to sort of, I like small businesses where I can get my hands in all different parts of the organization, where I can get called into a meeting with finance and marketing and sales and engineering and ops all at the same time, and see all of those pieces come together and be part of those discussions. So I'm really fortunate in that way, but there were some organizations I think I maybe stayed too long. And I think that's, looking back, I'm sure I did it for a reason, and I'm sure it all got me to where I am today. But I don't know if I could do it again, and I think I might give myself different advice.